Hello, this is your lesson for Chapter 7, Solving Algebra Equations. So we're going to continue what we learned in Chapter 6 in regards to variables and how to work with them. And now we're going to be solving for what that variable is. I told you a variable is a number that can change, not you don't necessarily know what it is. This chapter we're solving it to see what we know what it is. All the lessons are on this one, or all the whole chapter is on this one video lesson because everything's kind of tied together. If you know a couple of keywords, your reference pages are right here. They're also written in the left-hand column there, so you can check those out if you need additional help. So, some vocabulary that you're going to need. Inverse operations. Inverse means, like turning something inside out, turning it to an opposite. So, inverse operation is using the opposite operation to solve for a variable. If the equation has addition, you use the inverse, you use subtraction. If the equation is using division, you use the opposite, you use multiplication. So inverse operations, get used to that. The steps to solve equations. So I'm doing something different here with this shade, so we'll see how it works. So step number one is isolate the variable by using inverse operations. Isolate means to get it all by itself by using inverse operations. We'll do several examples and go over this, so don't worry about it too much. Just get the notes down. Do the same thing to the other side. The equation needs to be balanced on both sides. So if you subtract something on one side, you have to subtract it on the other, so things stay equal. And then you check your answer. So let's take a look at some examples. Addition and subtraction are on pages, I think I can just get rid of this whole thing now, are on pages 526 and 536. If you need additional assistance or guidance on this, go there. So here we have a problem. What color should I use? Y plus 8 equals 13. Now a lot of you guys might be able to look at that and just go, I know it's 5, Mr. Vaughn. 5 plus 8 equals 13. That's not the point in this chapter. The point is that you get used to this process because the equations are going to get a lot more complicated and you need to be using the same process on all of them. So, just because you know the answer doesn't mean much at this point. You've got to learn the process. So, y plus 8 equals 13. I told the first step says isolate the variable. Get it all by itself. So we want to get this y all by itself on the left-hand side of the equation. So, oops, I did not want to erase all that. There we go. What's over here with the y? It's a plus 8. Opposite of addition is subtraction. So we will subtract 8 out of that side. Okay. We have to do the same thing to the other side. Subtract 8 out of that side. Then you draw a nice big line to show that's your next step. And what's left on the left? It was y plus 8 before. We got rid of the 8, so it's just y. You could do y plus 0, but it's kind of silly because you know from the 0 property that it's just going to be y. And on the right hand side, you've set yourself up with a nice little equation. 13 minus 8 equals 5. Y equals 5. So the third step is to go back and check, does 5 plus 8 equal 13? Yes, it does. We are good to go, right? Okay. Next example involving subtraction. So isolate the variable. Get it all by itself. What's over here on the left-hand side with the m? Well, minus 1.6 is. So opposite of 1.6, minus 1.6 is plus 1.6. So that takes care of of isolating the m. To balance everything out, we've got to do a plus 1.6 on the other side. What's left on the left? Just the m, because negative 1.6 plus a plus 1.6 is 0. It's gone. And then you set yourself up with a nice little equation here. M equals 3.9. And you would want to go back in, substitute this 3.9 plus 1.6, minus 1.6. Does that equal 2.3? Yes, it does. Check yourself. Okay, I'm going to get rid of some of this stuff so it doesn't look so garbly goopily. Get rid of that if I can. Okay, so that's addition and subtraction. Write questions on the left-hand column if you have any, and refer to those pages if you'd like to as well. So there's other lessons in the chapter that are on multiplication and division, page 529 and 552, sorry, and 562. So here we have 3 times x equals 45. The opposite of multiplication is division. So we are going to divide 3 out of both sides. Okay. Use the inverse operations to isolate the variable. Well, why did we do that? Because 3 divided by 3 equals 1. And so we're left, what's left on the left? Just a 1x, which is the same as x. So we've isolated the variable, meaning got it by itself, by using the opposite or inverse operations. On the right hand side, we have some simple division to do. 45 divided by 3 is 15. Check yourself. 3 times 15, does that equal 45? Yes, it does. We're good to go. Okay. Division. So this is c divided by 5 equals 7. This is the one that most people have trouble with, but just follow the procedures and you'll be fine. What's the relationship between c and 5? What's the operation on this side? Division. What's the opposite of division? Multiplication. So we're going to divide or multiply 5 times both sides of the equation. Got to keep things balanced. You got to do on both sides. So why did we multiply both sides times 5? Because the operation's division. 5 divided by 5, we're back to the 1 thing again, right? So what's left over there? Just the c. Well, you could put a 1c if you wanted, but it's the same as c. And 7 times 5 is 35. Circle your answer. Substitute it in. Check it. 35 divided by 5. Does that equal 7? Yes, it does. You're good to go. What's down at the bottom? Some your turn problems. So give that a try. P plus 8 equals 15. Solve for p. And number 2, 2 times y equals 10. What I'm going to be looking for is that you showed the proper steps. Okay, thank you very much, and we will talk to you later.